put anything
The
in.
meeting has to be resumed first.
Oh, I hear it. I got the click. Okay.
To by minute action excuse the absence of Counselor Jensen.
So moved.
Please cast your vote. Please record the vote.
With all counselors voting aye, the motion passes.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please read the consent minute approval titles.
Approving the minutes of the November 5th, 2024 regular council meeting and the November 5th, 2024 executive session.
The chair would entertain a motion to approve the consent minute action agenda items just read.
So moved.
Any abstentions or nay votes? Please cast your vote. Please record the vote.
With all counselors voting aye, the motion passes.
The chair would entertain a motion to approve by minute action the November 19th, 2024 bills and claims as audited by City Manager Napier.
So moved.
Any abstentions or nay votes? Please cast your vote. Punched mine too soon. Please record the vote.
With all counselors voting aye, the motion passes.
Now is the time we invite anyone in the audience who wishes to speak with the council to come forward. This portion of the meeting is dedicated to the public to allow them time to discuss matters of public interest and to voice their concerns. Please state your name, direct all questions or comments to the mayor. No personal obscenities or threats will be tolerated. Council will not respond to personnel matters. These will be referred to the city manager. Councilors may ask clarifying questions, but if they choose to respond to matters, they will do so during the scheduled council response time following communications from persons present. Presentations will be limited to 5 minutes and no time extensions will be permitted. Please note that public hearings and ordinances each have their own separate comment periods. And for those of you that are here for the massage therapy ordinance, that is being canceled. The public hearing is being canceled, and we will be having some more work sessions so that if you're interested, go ahead and send comments to council comments, and they will be forwarded on to the people that are looking at that. So just to let you know that that's what's going on there, and we will go from there. But I want to give you the chance, if you didn't want to sit here, you're welcome to go. But we do appreciate you coming.
Good evening, Mayor. My name is Ross Schrickman. Congratulations to all those that have been elected or re-elected to council. And thank you so much for all those that have served, whether your term is ending or you're continuing on for another 2 years. I know it's a lot of work, a lot of effort, and you have to put up with a lot of us, and I appreciate that very much. I have several suggestions for follow-up for the next council year. First of all, I want to talk about some ideas for public engagement. The first item is possibly to add a comment section for people that are not here online. I know that the legislature allows that, and there are disabled people in town. There's people that are working or not available. And maybe at the end of the in person, there could be some time for public comment from people on Zoom. I appreciate that you've added some comment period right after the public comments and also to answer questions. But it might be helpful also to have a little bit of dialogue, maybe 2 or 3 minutes. If there's an issue that we can debate back and forth, sometimes we all find out that there's some common ground or we can come up with some other solutions. And usually there's only 1 or 2 people that come up for public comment. With the budget coming up, and I was on the in the pre-meeting, there was a discussion of the agenda or the calendar for the budget. I would suggest that it might be a good idea to have some town hall meetings during the early part of the budget process. Sometimes there's some good ideas that come out that maybe we didn't even realize, and the public can input some ideas and participate on that. Surveys are good, but polls aren't always accurate. It's a good idea for members of council to go out and meet with constituents. As a candidate, I visited thousands of homes and had hundreds of conversations. Just one idea that came up, one of our veterans told me that at one point there were blue boxes in the grocery stores for people to pay their city bills. And he had suggested maybe that could be brought back. That's just one idea, but there were always something that somebody said. They would show me what's going on with their street, the water's running the wrong way or whatever it might be. And to go out and meet with people is just really helpful. Your resolution on the selection of the mayor and the vice mayor does say that you may go into executive session. I prefer that it be done in public, that your vote be in public, so that the public has a right to know what you all decided. And I know sometimes there's bad feelings, but it's politics, and the public does have a right to know. And finally, on filling council vacancies, I don't know if the law allows special elections, but I kind of feel that when, let's say, the voters in the 3rd Ward have a council member that has to resign or is no longer available or takes another position, that council members from the 2nd Ward are deciding who the council person will be for the next 2 years. If it's possible to have a special election, I know there's a cost for that, but I think it's better that the voters in that ward make those decisions. And they're my comments for the night. Any questions? Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kim Nemo, and I am a licensed massage therapist here in Casper. And I would like to thank you all for hearing our comments tonight. I'm here representing a group of us massage therapists in town, and we are aware that you have tabled the discussion that you had had planned to make tonight. But we would like to mention a couple of things regarding the updates to Chapter 8.084 of the Casper Municipal Code, businesses affecting public health pertaining to massage therapy licenses. One of the first things is some of the language in this proposal. The purpose of the ordinance, this is one of the highlights in the beginning of the summary, was to help legitimize massage therapists and to businesses that employ them. This is somewhat offensive, legitimizing massage therapy. I find that to be very offensive. And then also adding into some of these things, the background checks required annually, which is understandable. However, we had been only having to do those for every 2 years. Background checks were being done every 2 years. The license was held for every 2 years, and the fingerprints were done every 2 years. That upon application, you are suggesting that that the fingerprints be kept on file, but the background checks be continued annually. I'm currently licensed in another state, and I have only ever had to be background checked and fingerprinted one time. And I've been licensed for 5 years in another state, and I'm nationally licensed, which has never required any of those background checks or requirements, either one, or fingerprints, pardon me. Another thing that we are very concerned about is having to provide a clean bill of health from a provider in town. There are no other professions that we are aware of that is required to provide a clean bill of health in order to practice under their license. The cost of the fingerprinting fees, the background fee costs, the costs of the licenses, all these things bringing these up annually now is going to make it even more difficult. Another thing that is being suggested is that we have our transcripts sent directly to the licensing entity. And that's fine, except that runs us $40 each time we have to do that. And so those fees, they just keep adding up. And if we also have to get a clean bill of health, that's another thing that we all not only have to take time out of our work day to do, but then we also have to pay for that as well. So those are some of the concerns that we have. It's extremely difficult to renew. There is no renewal application. So having that I got my permit and my license the first year that this was offered, I had moved, changed addresses in that first year, And I was told by the license clerk that I had to pay another fee and relicense my entire business at a new address. There was no way to do it any other way. There's also the portal that we use, the online portal, extremely difficult to navigate. There were, out of about 15 of us last night, only 2 of us didn't raise our hand when we said, how hard is this thing to navigate? Extremely difficult. All to the tune of not even being able to pull up our own information from one year to the next. So that, and one last thing I wanted to mention, there is a massage therapist permit for me as a massage therapist, and then I also need a license for my massage therapy business. Why 2? If I want to be not only am I licensed in another state, but to be licensed in a business license, we completely understand. But then I also need to have a permit myself. So now when I leave this business, if I go to work for another business, does my permit follow? And yes, my understanding is that it does. But if I then change my license to another business, now I have to have another license. So it's a dual thing rather than having my license and being able to work wherever I want to work. So that's really basically all I have. Thank you.
Hello, friendly people. My name is Brendan LaChance. I recognize a lot of you. I was a reporter before. I'm now a certified massage therapist. I want to talk to you just a little bit about why I switched to this profession, the value I see as it being in this community. I want you to imagine like a thermometer of community stress. I think if we took away all of our massage therapists, acupuncturists, that type of thing, had none of those in our community, stress goes up. If we can do things that make it welcoming, comfortable in this community, to have that stress level is going to go down. I think that's the kind of value that this profession provides to our community. So as you're thinking about changes to this process, I would just encourage any of you, if you've never had a massage, to reach out to somebody in your ward, maybe go get a massage. If you're not comfortable with that, maybe go meet somebody, have them show you around their space. What does it look like? If you're not aware what that looks like, I would like to walk you through that a little bit so you have a picture when you're thinking about this, what you're regulating. If you come into my office, I'm going to give you an intake form, ask you to give me some information about your health history, that type of thing. Then I'm going to invite you back into the massage room and we're going to have a conversation. I'm going to ask you some questions about where do you really want worked on? You know, as members of council, I know you guys are under a lot of stress, a lot of work. Maybe you have some migraines going on because of the long city council packet. So we're going to work a lot on your head, right? Maybe your forearms are really stressed from a lot of typing. Maybe your low back hurts because you drive a lot. You work for CATSI or something like that, or the city bus, something like that. So I just really want you guys to keep that kind of picture in mind. You know, I know that oftentimes when this gets brought up, it's because there's shady things going on with certain entities in the community. That's not what I think most of the wonderful people I've met doing this profession are up to at all. And I think it's really important to keep that at the front of your mind. And so, yeah, as you do move forward and thinking about that, I do think there's a couple of just philosophical things to keep in mind. Human trafficking, they're breaking the law as is, anyone who's involved in that. So I just want to think about if there's any regulations put in, is that really going to stop that from happening? Or are we pushing things just underground in a different way? And then along with that, positive things, I think you guys should hire a massage therapist for Hogadon, boost some revenues up there. 5150 week, I know that's more of a Visit Casper thing. Maybe you reach out to the massage therapist, see if they'll do a $51.50 massage special for the week, something like that. You're trying to, you know, market the community. This is an asset for Casper, and I think you should look at it through that lens. And so also, I guess the last thought is then, as you're thinking about these regulations, like whatever you do, also be aware of your own limited resources, right? I know your licensing specialist has a lot on her plate, right? So there's slowness in communication with us sometimes for that. Same with the police department. Do they really have enough officers to handle what's being asked of them through this process? You know, we talked last night, some of the people going through the renewal process, submitted their applications, paperwork months ago and have not. You know, they've been approved before, so there should be no reason that that's being held up. So it's just a real question of, does the city have the resources to manage what kind of licensing system? So whatever you implement, got to be realistic, right? So anyway, just thank you all for what you do, and reach out to any of us if you have questions.
Good evening. My name is Richard Bell. I am a CPA here in Casper, Wyoming, and I wanted to discuss this update for the massage therapy licenses from a regulation standpoint. And as a CPA, I am subject to, I deal with government regulations on a daily basis, and my clientele also deal with government regulations on a daily basis, and I help them to navigate those regulations. When I read this and the requirement, excuse me, the requirements that'll be required of massage therapists, I did an informal survey yesterday of a couple clients of mine. One is a stockbroker, investment advisor who has access to millions of dollars of money of his clients. Another was a couple of physicians who deal with the intimate health knowledge of their patients every single day. And when I listed the regulations that massage therapists would be subject to, they're not subject to those same level of regulations. Yes, they have to have a background check, but not annually, okay? Yes, they may have to have someone come in and check their site, but not annually. So there's a lot of things in here that you're going to subject massage therapists to that you would think that physicians or people who handle money at that kind of level would be subject to, and they're simply not. So to say that this is an overregulation, I truly believe that it is. The sense in here that you want to legitimize massage therapists, it is offensive when I read that. And I think what you're trying to do is differentiate between a criminal activity and a non-criminal activity. And I understand that. But there's a difference between apologize. There is a difference between regulating an industry and policing. Sure. There is a difference between regulating an industry and policing an illegal activity. And I think this overregulation is not going to get rid of the illegal activity. I think the policing side needs to be pushed harder. Thank you for your time and efforts. Appreciate you. Thank you.
My name's Brad Shirley. In the past 50 years, the people of Casper have built 9 fire stations. Out of those 9, 4 of them or 3 of them have been closed and sold off privately. The one at Mike Cedar just sits there and we pay to maintain that. 4 others that we've built, and now there's a proposed another one. $10 million just to demo the building that you bought for the new police department. When you start throwing around that kind of money, you could buy a lot of pavement, blacktop. Our streets really need that kind of repair. And I know our street department can do that kind of quality of work. I'd like to see 10 or $20 million of blacktop put down and maybe some seal coating. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Mayor and members of the council, my name's Mike Huber. I don't want to say that I've lived in Casper all my life because I don't think I'm dead yet, but I've lived here for a long time. First off, I really do want to thank all of you guys for your service. I know what it's like to sit up there, and I'm just glad that it's you and not me that's sitting there. Some of you might be worrying and wondering, well, what would motivate him to come down here and want to talk to us? Well, I'll tell you in a minute what motivated me, but I do want to address a couple of things that these nice people have talked to you about the massage therapy ordinances. Mayor Kathy and Councilman Pacheco, you were on the council back when we adopted that ordinance. And the main thing, well, I don't want to say the main thing, but one of the things that we were concerned about then, and all you got to do is drive up and down South Poplar Street, and there are all the little signs there for places. And, the store, I've never been in one of those, but I've talked to people who have, and they are not what I believe you good people do, and they are not the kind of massage therapists that I have benefited greatly from over my lifetime, because I really truly believe in legitimate massage therapy, and I think it's a good thing. And it certainly helped me out an awful lot with some of my physical problems that I've had. And so I think we need to look back at why that ordinance was adopted and why some of the verbiage that was in there. We wanted to differentiate you nice people from, where I'm talking about. And so I would urge that something like that continue to stay in the ordinance. I think that the nice CPA man who compared this to physicians and stockbrokers, I think he's way off the target. Physicians have, the governing authority of the state over governing them, and the medical society and all of those things. Those entities have much more teeth than the council could have. With reference to stockbrokers, there's nothing that would stop me from giving all my money over to Councilman Pacheco and saying, here, Ray, go do something good with it. That's a totally different thing than a health kind of a thing. But anyways, now to get to why I was motivated to come down here, and Carter must have figured out I was going to be here, and so he ran and hid. But like the gentleman that just spoke ahead of me here, I was reading in what's left of the Casper Star Tribune, and I saw the figures, $8 million for asbestos mitigation in the American Bank building, $30 million to gut it and redo it and all that stuff. I was just shocked by that. We all know that friable asbestos is dangerous and needs to be taken care of. Non-friable asbestos is perfectly safe as long as you don't stir it up and start, freeing it into the atmosphere. I promise I'll try not to break it, but you guys know I flail around a lot. The other thing that I would say about the idea of that, well, we have to go in there and gut that building and do that kind of thing, I would compare it to, let's say you have a family and your family is growing, and so you need a bigger house, and you find a bigger house that you can afford. You're not going to buy that bigger house and then go in, unless you're really rich, and then go in and start gutting it and tearing everything out and rebuilding it and everything. No, you're going to go in there and you're going to say, well, Susie, this is your bedroom. Jimmy, this is your bedroom. Mickey, this is your bedroom. This is this is that. And they might not all be perfect for each family need, but you'd figure that out and you'd make do. I've been in that building a lot, done a lot of business with a lot of the entities that have been in there and a lot of the offices and everything. I don't think it would take too much imagination for the police department to move in and have offices for the things that they need to have, and have a very highly functional workspace in there with little to no modification to those floors. This idea that you got to spend bazillions of dollars doing this stuff, no. I see I ran out of time. I died. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Pat. Shouldn't have touched. Yep. Pat Sweeney, evidently you can't touch it. So Pat Sweeney, 951 North Kimball. I'll keep it very brief. I had breakfast at the Elks Club this past Sunday, and Joe Parambo approached me. They're doing a free Thanksgiving Day dinner from 1 to 5. They've invited any elected to come down and help for a short time. And I printed out the article from Oil City News the other day, might have been yesterday, for the council. I don't have a phone number for Joe, but I think you can call down to the Elks if you're interested. On a couple of comments, besides that, someone mentioned previously about, possibly opening up the YouTube channel. I think that takes a different licensing agreement. But you'll notice if you sign up to testify for any of the legislative committee meetings, because I signed up to testify but didn't get a chance to revenue on property tax stuff. It's up to the chairman's discretion. If they're running out of time, they can also limit the time. They take in-staters more systematically than out-of-staters coming in to testify. I think, it's not a bad idea, but I think it could roll out of control fairly quickly. So something to think about. But anyway, and I truly believe on the budgeting process, it's open to the public. If you want to listen in, or if you want to come down, you may not be able to speak. But at the same time, during all of those discussions, people and the public should feel welcome and be part of it. I don't think you need to add hours and hours of staff time and council time to rehash any ideas or new ideas. I think staff does a wonderful job of leading council through those discussions, and so I think that council and our staff does a great job and has done a great job for years and years. That's why the city's been recognized multiple times over the years from different budget audit deals and across the country. So anyway, I think our staff does wonderful things for our community and our constituents. So with that, happy Thanksgiving and appreciate the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Would any councilors like to briefly respond to the matters brought up by the public communications from persons present? I would like to make a couple, if it's okay if I start. Okay, thank you. And then we'll go to you. First of all, on the massage therapy ordinance, there were a couple of comments about establishing legitimacy. That was the primary reason that ordinance was written. is a group of the massage therapists came to the city to ask to be regulated to where they could establish some legitimacy. So that was there. That was why that was done. At the time that was done also, it was worked through the police department to try to get language in that to be able to distinguish and to be able to allow them to go there and do what they needed to do. And basically they could walk into any one of yours, you show them your license, you're good. So that's another part of that licensing requirement. So that was done through a process. Yeah, it doesn't like peas. I don't either, but anyhow. But that was all done through a committee of probably 20 of the massage therapists. What was that, 4 years ago, Judge Huber? Yeah, Judge Huber and I were the two that coordinated that committee. So but that was kind of where we were. And so that's where we were. And we've had it now for 4 years. I'm glad to hear that we're having issues with the renewals. Those are some tweaks, and that's all we're really looking at trying to do is make this better, not to try to go back and rewrite it. So that's again part of why we have postponed it. That is part of why I said if you have specific issues and comments to please yeah, it really doesn't like peas, to forward it to council comments, or I think your office is dealing with some of that, Mr. City Attorney?
Mr. Mayor, yes, they can be sent to my office, to the city clerk. We're working collaboratively on this issue.
You could forward any of those comments and tell your colleagues to please do that, to forward those to the city attorney or the city clerk's office, and those will be taken into consideration. So we hear you. We are still working on that. It will come up for another work session, and it will probably not be till after the first of the year before any of the public hearings or anything like that start, because we have 2 more regular council meetings and 1 work session between now and the end of the year. So that's kind of where all of that is. So we appreciate you coming here tonight, and we appreciate your comments. As far as debate time, I'm a little concerned about that. Also, we are not a democracy per se. We are a representative republic to go to council comments and the people at home. They are more than free to call any one of the 9 of us to bring their concerns before council. That's part of why we have around the table at the end of our council meetings, is to bring forth issues that our constituents have brought up. And so for those that can't make it here, I would stress to you to call your council members and your representatives, because that's what they are, is they are your representative, and to bring those to your representatives to bring to council to bring up. So those are a couple of comments I would like to make. I will now go to any other comments. I think Councilor Pacheco had a comment.
Yeah, this is just for the massage therapists. Couple things. One is I think the thoughtfulness of what we're trying to do is that's why we tabled it, because I think we want to hear from you. We want to know that your concerns and that we're hearing your concerns. And I think that's a critical component for those that are in that. We're not in the business of regulation people out, right? And we hear that. We hear you, and we want to make sure that we're doing this thoughtfully to continue that. And like the mayor said, suggestions would be send emails to us, reach out to us. We already have some that have reached out to Councilor Pollock and I. And so there, if you want to reach out and express your opinions, your frustrations, your anything like that, we're willing to do those things. Okay. So thank you for coming, and we hear what you're saying. Thank you.
Thanks, Mayor. I would concur with the comments you made for the folks here advocating for their industry in regards to massage therapy. Your concerns and comments are heard. I appreciate y'all showing up and look forward to having a more involved discussion on that in the future. Mr. Schriftman, you had brought up the concept of utility drop boxes. I had never heard of that, but I was surprised to find out that they were used as recently as 2017. I'm not privy to the context regarding the decision to discontinue their use. Some of my colleagues might have been on council at that time, but referring to a K2 News article from September 2017, it looks like only 1% of residents were using the drop boxes to pay their water bill at that time. And so my guess is that's probably the reason it was stopped, is it just wasn't economical. But I do want to remind people there is a drop box at City Hall that is taken full well advantage of. And so if they're looking for convenience, that's probably a good way. But again, I appreciate you doing your diligence and talking to, knocking on doors and talking to a lot of people out there about some of the things they'd like to see the city doing. To Mr. Shirley, Mr. Huber, and anyone else I might be forgetting that spoke to the Casper Business Center or Casper PD project, I just wanted to say that I think we all recognize that the cost of asbestos abatement and other renovation is higher than the original 25 million we budgeted for the project. That's the unfortunate reality of cost of construction these days, as sad as it is, and it's not unique to the city. One argument is that the money could have been better spent elsewhere, such as streets. Mr. Shirley, I appreciate your advocacy for that issue. Anyone that regularly watches council meetings knows that I'm a champion for streets. People get sick of me saying the word streets, streets, streets. It seems like it's all I ever talk about. But I was happy that we've increased the funding for streets from the previous 1 cent cycle to the current 1 cent cycle about 50%. It's still not as high as I would like, nor near as high as required to improve their condition. So there's still a lot of work to be done, but I don't think that it should be done at the expense of the PD, who desperately need a new building. There's a really great Oil City News article written in February of 2022 by that man over there. And it highlights the current building's deficiencies. He wrote another article, October 29th in 2019, covering the feasibility study that was originally done to inform council's direction on what to do about a new police department building. And at that time, the rehabbing of the current Hall of Justice location and the building of a new building were both estimated at 35 million. It wouldn't surprise me at all if those 2019 estimates are closer to 50 million now. And so, you know, none of us like getting bids back higher than we had budgeted for or were expecting. I get super frustrated that it seems like we're able to get less and less done with the dollars that are available to us. But I'm looking forward to bringing on this CMAR. I don't know if there's a better shorthand term, but I'm hoping that there's going to be some efficiencies realized through going that route for construction. I believe the intent is to phase out the approach to Mr. Huber's concerns. I believe that was the intent, is to phase out the approach and not do it all at once. And obviously we're going to have to pare back like we did here at City Hall. These beautiful yellow seats are the same ones that were in here before. So, you know, there's going to be lots of decisions that are going to be made. I still think that the path we're on is frugal in its approach, as frugal as can be, but I hear your concerns, and for everyone that showed up to advocate on the variety of issues, I appreciate you being here on this cold winter evening. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Just so that somebody would know, as an added note on the police building, if we, and I don't remember, what was the original estimate to build a new police building? It was what? Today's estimate to build that same building is about 64 million. So that's what happened, and all of our construction costs doubled after COVID. So that's kind of where we are from the money standpoint, is we aren't trying to be wasteful or anything else. It's just what's happened to the inflation and the cost of building here in Casper. So we're trying to do what we can. I would be more than happy to talk to you after the meeting if you would like. Is that okay? Very good. That way we can debate or whatever and not take up everybody else's time. Thank you, Mr. Shirley. Please read the consent agenda titles.
Establish December 3rd, 2024 as the public hearing date for consideration of an ordinance repealing the existing chapter 16.18 of the Casper Municipal Code and creating a new chapter 16.18, adopting standard specifications for public works construction and infrastructure improvements, amending section 15.12.050 of the Casper Municipal Code to establish an administrative process and fee concerning the reciprocal contractor's license, and to consider an application for transfer of ownership and location for retail liquor license number 11, Hayden and Laughlin Incorporated, doing business as Local Liquor and Lounge located at 4120 Centennial Hills Boulevard, Suite 200, to Maximum Chill LLC, doing business as Interstate Discount Liquor located at 80 West F Street.
The chair would entertain a motion to, by minute action, establish the public hearing dates just read. Any abstentions?
I'd like to abstain from item 6A1C, please.
Please cast your vote. Please record the vote.
With Counselor Pollak's abstention noted and all other counselors voting aye, the motion passes.
I now declare the public hearing open for the consideration of the transfer of ownership for retail liquor license number 4 for the Office Bar and Grill. City Attorney, do you have any exhibits?
Thank you, Mayor. I do. Exhibit number 1, correspondence from Fleur Tremmel to J. Carter Napier, dated November 13th, 2024. Exhibit number 2, Casper Star Tribune proof of publication, published on November 7th and 12th, 2024. Exhibit number 3, affidavit of website publication as published on the City of Casper website, dated November 14th, 2024. Exhibit number 4, liquor license transfer application filed October 11th, 2024.
Thank you. Mr. Acting City Manager, do you have a report?
Thank you, Mayor. Frankly, this is a very straightforward liquor license transfer from the Office Bar and Grill Incorporated to Kinsla LLC. And it's the nature of the business. The location of the business is all remaining the same, just it's a very simple ownership transfer. So that's all I have, Your Honor.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you both. At this time, I would ask those individuals who wish to speak in favor of the transfer of retail liquor license number 4 to please approach the lectern.
Hi, my name's Derek Crane. It's my wife, Cody Crane. We are just going to be the new business owners for the Office Bar and Grill. Is the liquor license transfer that we are trying to acquire right now. Don't really have much to say, really. Just wanted to come show our support for this and hope you guys all accept it for us and let's continue on.
Very good. Does anybody have any questions or anything? Councilor Gamro.
Thank you, Mayor. No questions, but I saw y'all's names on the application, so I'm glad you're here this evening. I was surprised I didn't see any news articles about it, but I imagine there'll be one after tonight. So good luck in those comment threads. Congratulations, and looking forward to seeing what y'all do. So thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Congratulations. I figure we'll probably pass it, but good luck to you and good luck to your new business venture.
All right. Thank you very much.
We're glad to have you here.
Yes, sir.
At this time, I would like to ask those individuals who wish to speak in opposition to the transfer of retail liquor license number 4 to approach the lectern. There being no one other to speak for or against the transfer, I now declare the public hearing closed. Please read the minute action item by title only.
Transfer of ownership for retail liquor license number 4 from the Office Bar and Grill Incorporated, doing business as the Office Bar and Grill located at 520 South Ash Street, to Kinsla LLC, doing business as the Office Bar and Grill located at 520 South Ash Street.
The chair would entertain a motion to approve the minute action item just read. Discussion? Please cast your vote. Please record the vote.
With Counselor Pollak abstaining and all other counselors voting aye, the motion passes.
The chair would entertain a motion to, by minute action, cancel the November 19th, 2024 public hearing for consideration of an ordinance repealing and replacing Chapter 8.04 of the Casper Municipal Code regarding businesses affecting public health. Please cast your vote. Oops, you are back. Thank you. Please record the vote.
With all counselors voting aye, the motion passes.
Council will now consider consent resolutions. Please read the consent resolutions by title only.
9A1, authorizing a contract for professional services with the Civil Engineering Professionals Incorporated for engineering, design, bidding, and construction administration for water and sewer utility replacements within the I-25 YDOT right-of-way in relation to the City of Casper project ARSCT I-25 4A03 Interstate 25 Marginal Phase 2 utilities of the I-25 Casper Marginal Project. 9A2, authorizing amendment number 1 to the contract for professional services with Civil Engineering Professionals Incorporated for design services for the Interstate 25 and Casper Marginal Combined Beautification Project, Poplar to East Yellowstone. 9A3, rescinding and replacing Resolution 24-158 and terminating the Community Development Block Grant Agreement between the Wyoming Community Development Authority and the City of Casper to assist in funding renovations for the Willard and Vision Center. 9A4, authorizing submission of an application to the Land and Water Conservation Fund Grant Program. 9A5, authorizing a final acceptance certificate with the Wyoming Department of Transportation for the College Drive Multi-Use Pathway. And 9A6, accepting water line easements from the Luther Classical College as part of the Luther Classical College construction at 2300 West 24th Street.
The chair would entertain a motion to adopt the consent agenda items just read.
So moved.
Mr. City Manager, would you have any comments to these items?
Mr. Mayor, I have no comments. Thank you.
No comment. Any abstentions? Please cast your vote. Please record the vote.
With all counselors voting aye, the motion passes.
Please read the consent minute action titles.
10A1, authorizing the appointment of Zulima Lopez to the Board of Directors for Central Wyoming Senior Services Incorporated. And 10A2, authorizing the reappointment of Kate Maxwell to the Board of Directors for Central Wyoming Senior Services Incorporated.
The chair would entertain a motion to approve the consent minute action agenda items just read.
Second.
Any abstentions? Please cast your vote. Please record the vote.
With all counselors voting aye, the motion passes.
At this time, we ask councilors bring forward relevant concerns or items of interest. Councilor Haskins. Sounds like a plan.
I'll try.
Councilor Gamron.
Thank you, Mayor. I just have one item. I wanted to give a shout out to Liz Becker for organizing a volunteer group of Old Yellowstone District and other members to hang lights downtown. I was unfortunately unable to go, but I'm always really appreciative, especially of the OYD group there. They do a lot of public service. She was also a part of a group including the city attorney, finance director, PD, and other folks that did homeless outreach, I believe, last Thursday. Again, unable to join them for that as well, but I'm glad they got the opportunity to go, and I'm looking forward to connecting with them to see how that experience went. Thank you.
Councilor Sutherland.
I too don't have anything. I also have a meeting tomorrow, so we'll be sharing information about the launch of the task force on community safety and wellness and mental health in our community. So looking forward to learning and seeing how that conversation goes. Otherwise, we'll report in 2 weeks from now. Yeah.
Very good. Yes. Councilor Pollack.
Thank you very much.
I had a Amicu reuse agreement joint powers board meeting that I did have to use my proxy for, but I was able to catch up with them after the fact, and they let me know they're currently seeking a food and beverage director at the refinery, so that's a big deal. Making sure that that area keeps moving forward. Had a really strong season there, so all of those updates look really good from that organization overall. And then we just had interviews this morning to fill some board positions there. So we interviewed 4 people, and we'll be looking for 5 people, and we'll be looking to fill about 4 seats there the coming little while. So you'll see those come in before you soon. Had LGBTQ advisory on Friday. Got a new chair and vice chair there, and then spent the vast majority of that talking about Casper Cares, which is an initiative you've heard about many times from that group. Has morphed and changed and evolved over the number of years we've been talking about it, and at this point it's really have kind of settled on really trying to run like a Did You Know series around the ordinance and just a public education campaign. And so this first round, the first just kind of a quarterly topic. And the first one is really around city council itself and how to engage in meetings, how to contact, who are your counselors, what types of things do we oversee? So just really kind of some basic, like, did you know that this is what city council does sort of angle. And so that'll be the first primary topic that they'll be generating some information on kind of as a PSA. So that'll be coming soon. I'm sure you'll see that. I did ask that any of those, we put one out about the non-discrimination ordinance. That was kind of the first installment of it. Did you know we had one and what it involves? And I asked if they would put those items that they develop into the info packet so you can see them. Had economic development joint powers board meeting. I told you I was going to have a lot of updates this week. Economic development joint powers board meeting yesterday. Got some updates on a few projects, and then also our contract with them is nearing its term, and so we'll be, I'm sure you'll be hearing about that soon as well, keeping an eye out for new contract, new term with Economic Development Joint Powers Board. And last but not least, I had a Central Wyoming Regional Water Joint Powers Board meeting today. And we got the results of our audit, preliminary results from our audit, which had no findings. It was a clean audit, so that's great. City staff has taken over the finance side of that organization, and so they've put together a great financial report for us. And that was kind of the main deal. Just a few final steps on that Wardwell to Bar None transition. And I have Metro tomorrow, so I can report that to you at a later date. That's all. Thanks.
Councilor Bond.
Thank you, Mayor. I attended the Joint Powers Water Board meeting today. Nothing to add to what Councilor Pollack added. I'm planning to attend the WHAM Lunch and Learn on Friday, or on Thursday rather. It's a virtual event, I believe, that we got an invitation to, so I'm hoping to attend that and learn more about WHAM. And I think that's about all. Other than wish everyone happy Thanksgiving next week.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Pacheco.
I don't have everything tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor.
Last Thursday was a busy day, and I don't want the mic. Last Thursday was a busy day, and unfortunately I was unable to make drug court, the police task force meeting, and the rec center because I had to take my mother to Colorado. So unfortunately I'm unable to provide reports on any of those because it all happened that day. Then So I'm looking forward to some notes on the police task force meeting and to be brought up to speed on that. Tomorrow I do have Visit Casper board meeting. Then Thursday morning, we have Natrona County breakfast with the mayors. And then Friday, we'll be doing the lighting of the Healing Park in Conwell. And so we'll be there at 4 and serving cookies and hot cocoa. So that's it.
Thank you. Yeah, last week had a meeting with the library board, the library foundation, the county commissioners, and the city manager and I to discuss how to move forward with new library. I had the distinct honor of being able to swear in a new firefighter last Thursday, so we have added to our great EMS force, firefighting EMS force here in Casper. Also, I had a police building committee meeting on Friday of last week. We had the Joint Powers Water Board meeting this morning, and we awarded the contract to HDR for the design and implementation of the UV, trying to remember, for the UV disinfection that we have to have installed there by 28 to meet the new EPA regulations for city water. So that is going to be a major project going on through the design and implementation of that at the water treatment plant. Basically have a proclamation to read Thursday morning, and next Tuesday, supposed to go to South Ridge to meet with a third grade class to go over what we do in government. So that should be one of my more fun type activities, getting to deal with the younger people. And so I believe that's it. The next meeting of City Council will be a regular council meeting to be held at 6 p.m. on Tuesday, December 3rd. As a reminder, next week's work session is canceled. A notice of an executive session to take place at this date and during this meeting was given. We have attorney-client privilege and land matters to discuss. The chair would entertain a motion to adjourn into executive session, and at the conclusion of that executive session to reconvene this regular meeting solely for purposes of adjournment of this regular meeting. There are a majority of councilors present, and a motion to adjourn into an executive session has been moved and seconded. This motion requires a 2/3 majority of the council present. Please cast your vote. Please record the vote.
With all councilors voting aye, the motion passes.
A greater than 2/3 majority of council present voted in favor of the motion. We are hereby adjourned into executive session.